Chapter 1067, Huntsville, Alabama. On July 16 through 20, 2019, Vietnam Veterans of America and Associates of Vietnam Veterans of America held their 19th Biennial Convention and elected new leadership, reviewed the organizational constitution, and handled other organization business. This year, the convention was held in scenic Spokane, Washington. Located at the eastern edge of the state on the Spokane River, the area's pristine natural beauty offered visitors lots of opportunities for recreation, as well as a host of cultural events and dining options. The city is home to numerous craft breweries, art galleries, and the Northwest Museum of Arts and Culture, which spotlights the region's history and Native American heritage. Gonzaga University and its basketball team are also based in Spokane. More than 700 visitors attended the VVA and AVVA 2019 National Convention, with exhibitors representing commercial firms, government agencies, VVA state councils, VVA and AVVA chapters offering goods and services of interest to member veterans. Past exhibitors have included travel agencies, veterans publications, insurance agencies, the Department of Veterans Affairs, VA, and numerous VVA, AVVA chapters and state councils. General Session 1. Alan J. Lynch, Keynote Speaker. Alan J. Lynch, who received the Medal of Honor for his courageous actions under fire in the Vietnam War, delivered the keynote speech at the opening ceremonies on Wednesday, July 17th. He joined the United States Army after graduating from high school and volunteered to serve in Vietnam. While serving as a radio-telephone operator in a forward element of the 1st Cavalry Division during the bloody Battle of Tam Quan in the Central Highlands in December 1967, Lynch, in the words of his Medal of Honor citation, dashed across 50 meters of open ground through a withering hail of enemy fire to administer aid to 3 wounded 1st Cavalry men. Al Lynch spoke about his Vietnam War experiences, about post-traumatic stress disorder, and about bullying in his keynote, themes that he addresses in his new book, Zero to Hero, From Bullied Kid to Warrior.
We beseech you this day to grace us with your divine presence as we gather here to celebrate another milestone in the life of Vietnam Veterans of America and Associates of Vietnam Veterans of America. We celebrate one another as we open this new chapter here in Spokane. We have reached a milestone in the life of VVA. We have come to the realization that we are for the most part in our 70s and 80s, and therefore we need to prepare what legacy we will leave behind and who will pick up the torch to carry on. We have reached that fork in the road and we need to decide which road we will march forth in. We ask for your blessing, grace, and infinite wisdom that we may make the right decision that will give birth and new life to our younger brother and sister warriors. Our motto of never again will one generation of veterans abandon another has been the driving force of our organization when we remember the painful abandonment we all experienced when we returned home and were roundly rejected when we tried to join other mainstream veteran organizations. This motto has gained the respect of our younger veterans who have served and fought in subsequent wars. Bless us as we look ahead and decide which legacy we will leave our younger veterans. The number of our members are dying each and every day continues to grow, and we will realize that one day the last man or woman standing will close the door to this great organization. Help us leave a powerful message to our younger brother and sister warriors as they will be fighting their own demons and war-related diseases. Remember also all of our men and women wearing the uniform of our country who find themselves in areas of great danger. Bring them home safely to their families and friends. Remember all of our deceased members who served during wartime and peacetime Give consolation to all of our hospitalized veterans, those who find themselves homeless or incarcerated. Yesterday, a 64-year-old Army veteran from Greencastle, Indiana, with no family, was laid to rest. And later this afternoon, Wayne Wilson, an Army veteran from Niles, Michigan, also with no family, will be buried. Unfortunately, at our age, this is happening way too often. A military funeral service with no family members around to attend. In honor of these two fallen vets, and for all the others we have lost over the past year, let's have a moment of silence, and also a moment of silence for all of our POWs, those still missing in action and unaccounted for. And we especially remember Pennsylvania past State Council President Jeffrey R. White, who passed away on July 3rd, who will be laid to rest tomorrow. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
And now, to present the colors, the color guard from Fairchild Air Force Base. Leading us today in the Pledge of Allegiance, or in our national anthem, Michelle Wilwax from VVA Chapters 862 in Pennsylvania. Leading us today in the Pledge of Allegiance are a group of veterans who work at the Davenport Grand and the Doubletree here in Spokane. Tony Tersick, Navy, Marine Corps Reserve. Rick Freen, Air Force. William Pofine, Roth, Army. Darrell Reed, Navy. Ezekiel Gilham, Marines.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
While the color guard is going to the back to pick up the other flags, if there is a doctor in the area, please come over here. All right, now another VVA tradition. We're bringing in the service flags. Please be seated. Unless you want to stand for all of them. We'll bring service flags in one by one. Feel free to stand and let your allegiance be professed. Having these holidays. postcard. Happens every year. Just want to let you know, this morning, the honor guard from Fairchild came. They had to do double duty with about 5 minutes to get it together. They did an awesome job. Might have changed my views on the Air Force. All right, please welcome your national officers. Secretary Bill Meeks. Vice President Marcia Ford. Treasurer Wayne Reynolds, who is unable to attend. And VBA National President John Rowan.
Good morning, Spokane. Hello. Almost. You're almost awake or you're almost morning? I'm on East Coast time. I don't care. To me, it's noon time. Let's see. It's 20 to 1 back in New York, and I'm still on that time zone, so what the hell? It makes it easier for me to get up, because I normally don't get up very early in the morning. Anyway, it is my pleasure to introduce several people this morning. And before I get into that, I just want to say a couple of quick words. First of all, I want to do one introduction. Blanche Duggins. Blanche, where are you? I know you're somewhere else in the room. There she is. Hello, Blanche. Of course, everybody should know Blanche Duggins is George Duggins' widow, and is always with us. Thank you. I also want to thank several people for hosting us here, this host city of Spokane. We had a nice ceremony yesterday at the Inland West Vietnam Veterans Memorial, which includes KIAs from East Washington, North Idaho, Western Montana, and Southern British Columbia. In case you wanted to know how the Brits got in there, it's not Brits, that's Canada, folks. And what most people don't understand, for everybody who went north to avoid the draft, 10 came south to join the military. There is a memorial in Windsor, Canada, that's to about 450, I think is the number, give or take, of Canadians who lost their life in Vietnam serving in our military, except for a couple who actually served in the Canadian military as part of peacekeepers. So I want to thank, we had a nice ceremony yesterday. The mayor came, Mayor Condon was there, he's an Army veteran. Police Chief Mendel was a USMC, Uncle Samson's kind of children. And a Desert Storm veteran. The Spokane Visitors Bureau CEO, Ms. Wilkerson. And Ms. Spokane, Ashley Karras, was kind enough to join us yesterday up on the hill. The only way I got up on the hill is they had to send a gator to come get me and catch me up the hill because my feet are shot. But it was beautiful, it was very nice. And if you get a chance, go see it. If you haven't seen it, it's a really nice memorial. It's a solitary soldier sitting on a rock looking out over the whole valley and the river. It's nicely done. And as Alan said, it was reminded him of a lot of times when Vietnam vets in Vietnam just took a second and kind of contemplated what was going on. So, and you know, we do this every year where we bring up the flags of the different services. And it's very nice, everybody supports the Coast Guard, but is there any actual Coasties in the room? I thought I saw one or two. That everybody supports the Coasties, but we used to have one coming out of our New York delegation for years until unfortunately Ancient Orange got the best of him. And the poor guy, he got lost in the sea of support, which was nice, but concerning. So that was good. Let me see if I got anything else to get rid of. the Fairchild group, the Honor Guard, was a pleasure. Some of us went out to Fairchild Air Force Base. We had originally hoped to go to the Sea Survival School. Frank and where's my gang out there who went out with us to Fairchild? That was fun. We got to see a KC-135 that was built in 1958 originally. The tail number says 58 something. And that's how you know how old this thing is. They must have reskinned it, re-engined it, and every other thing, because we know we were looking at the planes and the giant engines on the thing compared to the days that we had. I never got to fly on one of them. I got refueled by one a couple of times, to say the least. And that was pretty fun. And it was really fun. We brought John Morgowski with us. John Morgowski is a former captain and a former navigator on KC-135s. Of course, the kids who were out at base yesterday, the other day, Monday, told them we don't have navigators anymore. So John's extinct. But it was really nice, and it was really interesting, and they were having these young, first of all, to me, they're all kids, even the colonel. Although he was prior enlisted, so he must have been in like his mid-late 40s, I think. You know, which is still 30 years younger than me, so what the hell. But it was really nice, and it was really fun talking to the younger folks that are on the line right now. And that's a crazy business, those boom operators who get into that thing, and how they refuel somebody at 400 miles an hour. I'll never understand, but they do it. And they do it well, and they do it all around the world. So we thank them for coming here. By the way, every one of those members in the Honor Guard do something else. This is not their main job. This is not their main thing. They're techies, they're all kinds of things. Maintenance, tech people, all kinds of stuff. And I want to notice the women veterans should notice the ladies in the group, especially the senior airmen, which I don't understand how the Air Force gets away with that still. But the senior airman, who was one of the leads in the Honor Guard. Very nice. So we are here to begin another convention, and I'm going to introduce a bunch of people. But I just want to say hello to everybody and to welcome you here to Spokane. And as I said, I had the pleasure of being in Spokane in early March 1967. It was part of my training that several of us were going through as flight school training to learn how to be crew people. All I did was sit in the back and work a crypto machine, which wasn't a big deal, and every once in a while I'd play flight attendant to keep the people who drove us. I love the Air Force for this. The person who controlled that airplane that I flew in, an RC-135, was mostly likely a E7, 8, or a 9. Very rarely we got 9s, once in a while an 8, most of them were 7s. They were called Airborne Mission Supervisors, still are, I believe, to this day. Nice generic name, by the way. The women are doing a lot of it today. And they were in charge of the aircraft. Not the colonel that could have been driving the thing. He was just the driver. They didn't have a high enough clearance to come in the back of the plane. I was like an extra guy because my Vietnamese stunk. And so they didn't trust me to do the Vietnamese stuff, and I ended up, like I said, working in a crypto machine, which was nothing but a typewriter stuck to this computer. But I used to play flight attendant. I used to have to bring the crew members their food and stuff. When you're doing an 18-hour mission, you got to eat a bunch of different meals. It's kind of weird. But it was fun and interesting, and now they're doing all this kind of stuff. And by the way, the women are everywhere in that particular field. They are very good at being linguists, so they do a lot of good stuff with that. But that was 52 years ago. And of course, in the Air Force, in the military, in its infinite wisdom, a bunch of us we were going to Vietnam. Even most of the, by the way, survival school, again, you gotta love the Air Force. Survival schools, 300 of us, give or take, going through this program. 80% of them were officers. Pilots, crew members, jet jockeys. We had all the jet fighter pilot guys going over to Vietnam, coming through with us. And then you had some of us enlisted folks who were crew members, loadmasters, whatever the case may be. And we go through all our training. It was pretty fun. But we're all going to Vietnam, and we all knew we were going to Vietnam. So, of course, here we are training in upstate Washington, East Washington State, in early March, 20 below degree weather, marching on 3 feet of snow, just to prepare us for Vietnam. It was wonderful. I don't know. The only other thing I couldn't understand, I thought it was a little iffy for the Air Force though. So if you look at a map sitting here in Spokane, you can see how close we are to Canada. Well, let me tell you, when we were marching trumping through the woods and escaping invasion and all this crazy stuff, we were a lot closer. And they gave me a map. And I actually took topography in high school, and I could read this map, and I'm saying to myself, boy, Canada's here, I'm here, this is pretty close. If I didn't want to do this anymore, it would be a little more. But nobody won't. So anyway, I came back and went here. Unfortunately, we happened to show up here in Spokane a couple of weeks that everybody in SEER school's on vacation. So unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to go see SEER school. Although some of us had enough trauma going through it the first time, I don't know that we really wanted to see it again. But anyway, so let us progress so we can get moving here. I'd like to introduce, first of all, my colleague as ABBA president in her last term. She's fading as she sits here. I'd like to introduce Sharon Hobbs. Sharon, please come on up and say it.
On behalf of the Associates of Vietnam Veterans of America, I welcome you to ABVA's 10th National Convention and our 20th anniversary celebration. For the past 20 years, there's only been 4 ABVA national presidents, and we're all here today. Although these ladies need no introduction, they certainly deserve recognition. Nancy Switzer, Mary Miller, and Elaine Simmons. Ladies, I personally thank you for your never-ending service, your undying dedication, and the unconditional love that you have for ABVA. In April this year, ABVA suffered another horrendous loss in the passing of our Vice President. Elaine Mackey has been termed by some of ABVA's as our quiet giant, which suited her very well. She had a good heart and a strong mind, and we still miss her very much. We've had another record year. Our membership is at an all-time high, and we passed the 10,000 member mark last fall. Since I addressed the last national meeting, we participated in another 21 Faces of Agent Orange town hall meetings nationwide. We have added another 23,000 volunteer hours to our VISTA program, which brings our total since its beginning in 2014 to 98,831 reported volunteer hours donated back into our communities. Our Paper Safe continues to be our most successful program. We're now at the end of our 5th printing with the current distributor. Another printing has been budgeted for this fall, bringing our total to 70,000 copies printed since 2012. This term, we introduced a new program formatted and designed to bring awareness and education to families concerning VA benefits due them because of their veteran service. Our spousal and survivor benefits program is designed to guide our chapters through the process of conducting educational seminars in a town hall meeting format in local communities. All the tools and instructions necessary to guide the organizer through a successful event are listed on our website. The memory plaque was first dedicated in 2004. The inscription on the plaque reads, "In honor of the men and women who served during the Vietnam War and later died as a result of their service. We honor their sacrifice." The original bill passed in Congress stated that it is to be in a place of honor and have proper drainage. Through perseverance and partnering with Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund, the repair is finished. I can say that the memory plaque is now an honorable tribute and has proper drainage. The rededication took place on Memorial Day in 2019, which means that our longest and most endearing project is now complete. We currently have only one ongoing project, and that's our annual Project Friendship. The drive will end this Saturday with the closing ceremonies and with a presentation of a check to Volunteer Services of America, serving Eastern Washington and Northern Idaho. VOA offers transitional housing for homeless veterans, along with educational programs to prepare them for integration back into society. Our goal is $15,000 this year, and we're not there. We need your support. We will be accepting donations until Friday morning. And once again, Sandy Miller, VVA's National Homeless Committee Chair and our advisor, has guided us into choosing a worthy cause in Spokane. This week, VVA will most likely be making critical decisions that will not only determine your future, but affect ours as well. And although we've been here from the beginning, lived with your PTSD, experienced the devastation from what being exposed to Agent Orange has done to your health and our children, there's one thing we cannot do when you're gone, and that's to lobby Congress in the manner as it's being done now. However, we will continue to inform and educate families and survivors on the effects of being exposed to toxic exposures, to recognize the signs and symptoms of secondary PTSD, and to ensure that your survivors and your families are aware of the benefits due them because of your service. We've developed a strategic plan to help guide us through this transition, whatever your decision may be. Our strategic plan is rather lofty and it's lengthy, but our goal is to cultivate and establish a self-sustaining organization so that we may continue our mission. And although there are many facets and goals to our plan, it does not include a plan for going away. We are here. We're not sure what our exact capacity will be, but rest assured we're here. Last September, ABVA converted to a 501c3 organization, and with this change, we are now eligible for sizable, tax-deductible grants and donations from outside sources. I want to publicly thank Jake Barsatini for his help and expertise in making this conversion. Alan Alexander Neal, an English author, said this: "How lucky am I to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard." For the past 6 years, I've been the national president. There's been great times, not so great times. But when all is said and done, I've been honored to hold this position that has been held by so few. But it's time to pass the torch. It's time for someone to step up and take us to the next level, to ensure our future, and to lead ABVA to new and bigger accomplishments. I want to thank all of you who have watched my back and encouraged me. And I especially want to thank those of you who support ABVA with your membership. I leave you with a word from American filmmaker and actor Quentin Tarantino. "I don't believe you should stay on stage until people are begging you to get off. I like the idea of leaving them wanting just a bit more. I sincerely hope that I haven't stayed too long behind the president's podium. I hope that I'm leaving you wanting just a bit more." So with that, there's only one thing left for me to say. God bless America, God bless our Vietnam veterans, and God bless all of their supporters.
is the local kid, sort of. And that's the Region 8 Director, Francisco Ibarra. Come on up. You recall Region 8, of course, this is the folks in front, this is how we do it, and all the Region 8ers, please wait and appreciate it. That's your game. Enjoy.
Thank you, John. On behalf of all the membership here in the state of Washington and Region 8, I would like to welcome all you brothers and sisters. I'm also the president of BVA of the state of Washington. We are honored having you here in Spokane. We hope you enjoy yourself while you're here. I know that we have a lot of great work to do, and we'll get it done. But most importantly, I think that it's you, my brothers and sisters who are here, who still care about the Vietnam Veterans of America. I am proud to say that I'm a Vietnam veteran and that I welcome you, and on behalf again of all our state and Region 8, welcome home. Thank you. At this time, with your indulgence, Mr. President, I would like to ask Gomesino Gomez up here and Gil Gallick if he's still here.
Thank you, Francisco. This time I would like to do a presentation on behalf of the Minority Veterans Committee of Vietnam Veterans of America. And it reads, Vietnam Veterans of America Minority Affairs Committee Diversity Award, Gilbert Collette, in appreciation for your leadership, commitment to all veterans, July 18, 2019. Okay. I just love the headdress, the arm, the whole thing. Notice all the Vietnam service ribbon built in. Very cool. Gomez Santos trying to figure out how he can be a tribe in Puerto Rico. All right, time for our keynote speaker. Our keynote speaker joined the United States Army in 1964. He served in the Vietnam War as a radio telephone operator with Company D of the 1st Battalion, 12th Cavalry, and the 1st Cavalry Division. All right, all you 1st Cav guys. On December 15, 1967, during a vicious firefight in Biennial province, he rescued 3 fellow 1st Cav troopers and stayed with them when the rest of the company withdrew. For 2 hours, using only his rifle and a grenade, he single-handedly defended the wounded men against enemy attack. He had crossed 70 meters of exposed terrain 5 times to carry them to a more secure area. For these courageous actions, he was awarded the Medal of Honor in 1970. Following the war, he worked for many years as a Veterans Benefits Specialist at the VA and retired as Chief of the Illinois Attorney General's Veterans Rights Bureau. Please welcome the keynote speaker for VBA's 19th National Convention, a life member of VBA, Alan Lynch. Alan. How do you see up here? Good. Oh yeah, I know, because they all got really old. Not like
Wow, this is great to be here. As some of you may know, I just finished my biography, and I've been on a book tour for about 3 months now. I don't know where I'm going and where I'm coming from. And it was kind of funny when I started to write it, because I didn't want to. I retired in 2005, and I thought, you know what I want to do is I want to go home. I want to go fishing. I want to maybe kill Bambi and eat it. I was going to say maybe Thumper for later. I was going to hike the Appalachian Trail because I love to walk. And I was going to get in shape. Well, I've accomplished one of those goals, and that wasn't so much by choice as by you got to. And when I started to get comfortable in my retirement, I had 1 year, and then it all changed. You know, there's a saying in my church that we make our plans and God laughs. He must have been hysterical. Because the nice, quiet life of the monk that I had planned went away. They brought the Medal of Honor Convention to Chicago in 2009, and I found myself getting back more involved in stuff. To the end that we formed the Alan Lynch Medal of Honor Veterans Assistance Foundation, now a part of Operation Support Our Troops America, where we help veterans of all wars and all eras with financial problems. We're involved in one program that's really, really cool. It's called UMAP, Utility Workers Military Assistance Program. We just graduated our 500th veteran in February. We have literally taken people that are homeless veterans that have no income. Our pride and joy is a young man that came up from Puerto Rico who was devastated by the hurricane, lost everything. His wife and his child were living there. We put him into this program. He's now making $80,000 a year working as a union member and working for People's Gas in Chicago. And he is one of many that we've been able to help with things like that. And as this foundation, this stuff was going on, I started being told that I needed to write books. See, I was bullied as a kid. I've never been the stereotypical hero. I never jumped out of airplanes. I always felt they were going to land. So what's the point? And if I couldn't get there by my feet or by walking, why do I go? And being infantry, that made me happy. I'm a leg and proud of it. Thank you. And I do like helicopters, I got to tell you. But as I was getting older, you know, you get old and you start to reflect on things. And a lot of my friends said, you know, there's a lot of kids being bullied. And they don't know that there's life at the end of that trail. There's kids that are bad students that feel that they're going to be failures all their lives. And there's veterans that are suffering post-traumatic stress, and you seem to be able to conquer most of it. And though you fight it every day, and I do, that I've learned how to deal with it and get over it and work through it. And so I was kind of guilted into writing this book. I'm bullied, if you will. Because my friends kept saying, you got to write the book. When are you going to write the book? You wrote the book yet, and all that. As I started to write it, what I found out was that there was something else going on. Writing a biography means you go back in your life and you start looking at all the things that you've done. Well, a lot of my life has revolved around, especially since Vietnam, has been all veteran. And Vietnam Veterans of America was the first organization I actually joined and became a little involved with. I didn't want to get into, as we used to say, and isn't this the arrogance of everything, I didn't want to join the older organizations. Yeah, the hats, or the more traditional organizations. Guess what? We is them. Yeah, like I said, some of you all got real old. I didn't, mostly. But I started to reflect on things, and all the things that we have accomplished as Vietnam Veterans of America. I think one of my proudest moments was when I first joined the Attorney General's office in Chicago. Neil Hartigan was the Attorney General, and right about then we were doing judicial review. And Neil Hartigan and I got to testify before the House Veteran Affairs Committee on judicial review, and we got to see it pass. And then I became a VVA service representative. I don't know if they're still representatives, but that's what we were back then. and I got to practice before the Board of Veteran Appeals and use case law that resulted from what we in Vietnam Veterans of America did against all of the other traditional organizations. We used to call it the Iron Triangle. I think it was Sonny Montgomery, the House Veteran Affairs Committee, and the traditional service organizations. And we fought and we won. I mean, think of what this organization has done since coming back from Vietnam and forming. Agent Orange. We did all of that. Worked hard on it. Vietnam veterans built the Vietnam Memorial. I remember going to a veterans organization, not VVA, going to an older veterans organization and having a World War II veteran ask me where his memorial was, and I said, well, for crying out loud, you had 30 years. And you had a whole Congress that was full of you. As a result of our memorial, the Korean War Memorial got built, and the World War II Memorial got built. We were responsible for Vet Center because we didn't want to go to the VA. We were responsible for not anxiety reaction or chronic depression. We were responsible for getting post-traumatic stress disorder. That was us. That was all us. And when our little brothers went to first Gulf War, it was all Vietnam veterans that were making those welcome parades happen. That was in Chicago. In fact, right now today, if you scratch any program, any organization that is helping other veterans, you're going to find a Vietnam veteran there doing some work. We volunteer, we help, that's what we do. I'm so proud that we have made that motto, that promise, that never again will one generation of veterans desert another. But there's a lot more work to do. I'm involved with a couple of friends in Chicago. They're Mexican veterans, they're Mexican Americans. And they brought to me something that just made me so, well, I can't say the word, mad, that I couldn't see straight. They're running an organization called Green Card Veterans. Now I know there's a lot of anger and a lot of anxiety and all of this going on about illegals coming across, and I get that. But these are men and women who are here on a green card, legally, that have served this country in harm's way. Some of them with post-traumatic stress disorder, physical conditions, traumatic brain injury. I just had a kid last year that was deported, came home, TBI, PTSD. He was here since he was 8 years old on a green card with his parents. He made a mistake, went to prison, served his time, nonviolent crime. Got out of prison, they deported his butt. He's living in Tijuana, I think. He just got 100% service connection for post-traumatic stress disorder, and we can't get him back in the country. And this is happening to a lot of veterans. I've got a Marine Corps veteran on a float in the Pacific. Got a call from INS saying, oh, by the way, when you get home, because I'm a veteran too, when you get home, we're going to deport your wife and your special needs child because she was visited by her brother who happens to be connected. That's a travesty. That's not Republican, that's not Democrat, that's not liberal, that's not conservative, that's not nothing. That is wrong. Somebody serves this country. We owe them. Like any of them. VA hospitals, which we are responsible, we have been responsible for making the VA hospitals change from a place where they just gave you drugs and set you on your way to a place where you actually can get taken care of now. The sad thing is, folks, is we're all getting a little bit long in the tooth. We don't have the energy that we did back in the 80s or even the 90s. It has come time for us to think about how we are going to leave a legacy. What are we going to do? Because let me tell you, you know this as well as I do, that the second this organization gets a little bit too old, the VA is going to go right back to business as usual, as will this country. Now, they have fought us every step of the way. We need to get these younger veterans involved. We've got some phenomenal experience. We tackled the VA, we tackled Congress, and we won. In fact, we haven't lost a battle. We have not lost a battle. If this was the 80s and we had the green card veteran problem, we would solve it. But we have to get some of the younger people involved. Now, I know this is going to be a tough convention because some of us do not want to go softly into that dark night. I am hoping that we are not becoming World War II and Korean War veterans, folks. Remember, you join the organization, shut up, sit down, wait your turn. We can't do that. We have a phenomenal opportunity, and I don't know how you can do it, I don't know how it's going to get done, but we got to do it. We have a great opportunity to figure a way that we can take these younger veterans and bring them under our umbrella, train them in how we did what we did back in the 80s and in the 90s, train them up, and then unleash them on Congress. What a legacy! What a legacy! When we're in our 80s and 90s, we could look back and we could say, see that organization that's kicking ass and taking names? That's our child right there. We made that organization, we brought it under us, we helped them to do it. We can accomplish great things even after we're long gone. It's always up to us. We can chart our own course now more than ever. We have to be able to pass the torch to a younger generation of veterans. And only we can do that in this room. Thank you for your time.
You guys really have to thank Alan later. I was going to make this really long speech. You did a hell of a lot better job than I would ever do. So thank you very much. I would like at this time to present Alan with VBA's Achievement Medal. Not that he needs another medal, to say the least, but it's nice to know that you're liked. And certainly, he is liked and loved, and thank you. So please, we got a new photo up that I have. I won't stick it with it, that's a horrible thing. I'm so glad it was a lightly toned speech. Not much emotion, it was quiet. Seriously though, thank you, Alan. Thank you very much. All right, our little morning session's winding down. I just want to make a few more acknowledgments. First of all, you heard earlier about Treasurer Reynolds, who's been going through some horrible hell of illness over the last year and a half. We hope he's finally made some turnaround. I was talking to his colleagues in Alabama, and he seems to be doing better, finally, again. It seemed like as soon as he got better, the original treatments worked, and then he got shingles, and then that happened, and it just, unfortunately, when you take some of these certain diseases, the cure is as bad as the disease, and it can beat you up so badly that it's hard for you to stay recovered. And unfortunately, Wayne has been up and down in that, so we're always good on saying prayers for our fellow brother and sister veterans, so please keep Wayne in yours, he's going to need it. I'd also like to acknowledge at this moment, we're going to have plenty of time during the rest of the week to keep doing this, but I'm going to have some fun here. Marsha, as you know, is retiring sort of at the end of this convention. She She's only been the vice president for a while. She was a board member forever. Marcia's been around the block in VBA to say the least, and has been leading us around the whole way. And for the last couple of years, the last 4 years, has been making sure that I didn't step in it. And would serve as keeping me honest. My wife likes to tell me this is a new thing about focus. Focus, you gotta focus. So you don't forget things or forget to do something. So Marcia does that for me at work. You gotta remember to do this. Call this one, do that. Okay. But seriously, I'm gonna miss her to say the least. We're gonna miss her, sort of. But if you know VBA, and since she lives so close, being only outside of Philadelphia, a couple hours drive away, done usually by Sandy now. Sandy Miller, for those of you who know Sandy. They come this pair, you get one, you get the other. It's really good. It's like two for one. And so we're gonna try to keep Marcia involved as much as I can. I'm sure I can find something for her to do. We got lots of things to do with VBA, and we're gonna have lots of things to do for the next several years, no matter what we do today.
Yeah.
But hopefully we walk out of here today with some sort of direction, and that's the key thing. Focus and give us direction, let us know what we're doing. You heard about some of this issue with other veterans. By the way, we have some guests in the room, I believe, in the back. Where's the Korean Vietnam veterans? Are they in the room? Some of the Korean Vietnam veterans, please stand. I know that every Vietnam vet I know who ever served anywhere near where the rocks were, we're very happy to turn everything over to them. Say, okay, you guys do it. We don't want to move on. And most people, even a lot of Vietnam vets, don't realize how many Koreans served in Vietnam. Over 350,000 Korean Vietnam veterans exist. Wow. 350,000. That's 7 times bigger than the next group, which is the Aussies, which were about 50,000. So it's amazing. It's truly amazing. Many of them, of course, like a lot of people in the 60s when the laws changed and the immigration laws switched around a little bit, and we started to see immigration from other parts of the world, like South America and Asia. Especially where I live in New York City, I don't know why, it's because it's close to the airports, particularly Kennedy or something. I don't know what the drill is, maybe because we have a lot of apartment houses that are always turning over. But we started to see all the immigration waves coming through, and not the least of which was Koreans. And I remember, God, it must be 25 years ago, 24 years ago or something like that. We had this little old funeral parlor that got converted into a church next to the old church that my chapter used to meet in. We met in a quaint little church that was built in 1741 that was turned into a recreation hall by the church that built a real church up the block. But this funeral home next door turned into a Protestant Korean evangelical church. And I got to know the pastor because I was involved in the community board at that time. And he was a Korean Vietnam veteran. He had been an army doctor. And he had a whole bunch of his parishioners were Korean Vietnam veterans. And we used to go to have lunch with them once in a while. It was quite fun. And then I started to meet Korean Vietnam veterans that had a group of Korean Vietnam veterans. They're a fun bunch to go to lunch with. Unfortunately, I'm not in my drinking days anymore, so it gets a little less boisterous. But when you go to the Manhattan Parade every year for Veterans Day, one of the largest contingents in the parade will be the Korean Vietnam veterans, the Vietnam veterans. They got everybody from privates to generals, all kinds. They got ROC Marines, ROC Army, medics, all kinds of folks. And many of them are here today. Go say hello when you see them. They're trying to get some assistance. They're trying to get recognition, quite honestly, which they certainly deserve at least that. So they've been shown. I know a lot of them have joined AVVA, by the way. In Manhattan, I know for sure. But I believe we have California, we have New Jersey, New York. Anybody? Did Georgia show up? The Georgia Korean Vietnam? Very good. Anyway, welcome to the show, and you're at home here in this crowd. So. thing I just want to do real quick, because it's been interesting. There's a lot of discussion about medals and stolen valor and all kinds of crazy stuff. I do this, and I've done this before. I would appreciate it for all those who have a silver star and above to please stand. And that includes you, Klein. I know you're out there somewhere. You may have to stand on your chair so they can see. And I do this for several reasons, not the least of which, I remember, I got a bunch of ribbons over here, and they're really interesting and very pretty. But I remember one time I was in the house cafeteria, in the Rayburn building, when I was down lobbying with Rick one day. And I was online trying to get some food out of one of the things, and I had this Navy captain come up to me. And he thought my first ribbon was a Distinguished Flying Cross. And I said, "No, I'm sorry, sir. Everything I got is participation medals." And that's all they are. Actually, my first ribbon's an Air Force Outstanding Unit Citation. And it's got a V on it. Sounds wonderful. Wow, you got a V. All it meant was we were in an area where they shot at us. They've now changed that, by the way. The Air Force has, and the military has a new little designation. It's a C that says you were in a combat zone, to make that distinction, because the V was always a little disingenuous. But the real issue here is people don't realize how few and far between the real heroes are, number one. Or how a lot of times, a lot of people didn't get the recognition they deserved. And we all know that's true for many who are on the wall. And they will never get the recognition they deserve. So, as we go forward over the rest of the day and into the next couple of days, we've got a lot of work to do. As I've been telling people, this may be the most important convention we've had since 1985. 1983, a bunch of us crazies came together and worked for days on end, for hours on end, to create VBA. And there's still a couple of us. I know Ned and Jerry, and who else? I know, is Scotty in the room, Scotty? What? All right, Scotty, where's Ned? Ned, where are you? Stand up. Oh, you're all the way to hell over there. Boy, they didn't like you. Where's Klein? Florida's on the other end. Stand on the chair so they see you. These are the last 3 members of VBA who've been to every convention. Every convention. There are a couple of us slackers who missed one here and there, but there aren't many of us left either. And if you've watched the video of the first convention and you got to really understand what it took to put this group together, I mean, I always joke, I tell the story, if you got 2 Vietnam veterans, you got 3 opinions. And can you imagine trying to put people together in a room to create a constitution, resolutions, all of this stuff, when nobody knew what the hell Robert's Rules was? And I go back to, I'll borrow one of my Medal of Honor recipient friends, Gary Biker's comments, who was our first state council president in New York, at our first convention in 1982, before there was even a national VBA. And he got up and said, "We were an organization of sergeants." And that was the most truest statement I ever heard. Now, I never got to be a sergeant. I was a sergeant for a month. They changed our title from airman first to sergeant in the Air Force for some dumb reason. Scarring again. But really, basically, we were run by E5s and whatever, and corporals. Very few officers, very few, and most of those were grunt officers. They weren't command officers. We very few, almost never saw in the early days of VBA flag rank or anything like that. Just didn't happen. And the other thing that Gary said, which was really interesting in the early days of VBA, because when we came out, everybody was hugging each other. Oh, you know, Vietnam vets, we love each other, blah, blah, blah. And every once in a while that could get us in trouble. And he said one other key thing, which I'll leave you with. He said, listen, just because they're a Vietnam veteran doesn't mean they're not an asshole. All right? By the way, Gary's a preacher now, has been for many years, and a youth worker in the church. Anyway, we're going to break. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to get everybody out of here. We're going to roll everybody back in. Wesley's going to give you all kinds of directions.
All right, we've been asked about the young lady that passed out yesterday at the wreath laying. We got a message she spent 5 hours in the hospital and is home resting. All right, now what we have to do, we have to leave this room. You leave your stuff on the table, leave the room. We're going to take a 10-minute break. Now that's a real 10-minute break, not a VBA 10-minute break. That could be a half a day. 10 minutes. Go out. When you come back in, you have to have your badge. Only people with a badge can get past the barrier. Marshals will be checking you. So go out, and then in 10 minutes, we're coming back in.
VVA Chapter 1067, Serving Vietnam-Era Veterans. Never again will one generation of veterans abandon another. Thank you for watching.